we ask our producers for support. Like we make a group of sommelier or group of really cool customers or group of bloggers, and we want to make wine tour. We ask our producers for accommodation and some activities like visiting winery, some tours to the vineyards, some dinner. For example, last year we visited Puglia, Sicily, and Sardinia. It was wonderful trip, and our sommelier from the restaurants, they were so excited. And after such activity, the sales rised up. And also when producers come here, come to Kazakhstan, it's also very helpful. Like I think this too is the main support.
Welcome to Asia Wine Market Almaty Special Edition with me, your host Roza. In this special series, we're exploring the growing wine culture of Kazakhstan with Almaty at the heart of it all. Each episode will meet with Italian wine professionals, importers, somms, and producers who are shaping the future of wine in Central Asia. Whether you're a winery looking to expand into new markets or a local expert curious about the market dynamics, you are in the right place. Hello and welcome to Asia Wine Market Almaty Special Edition 2.0. Today I'm very excited to welcome Darya Nagornyak. Darya works as the wine development manager at AlmaWine, one of the best wine importers in Kazakhstan. Based in Astana, she is also the vice president of Kazakhstan Sommelier Association. So we're very happy to have you here today, Darya.
Hi everyone, thank you very much. I'm also very happy to be here today.
And again, we're very, very delighted to, not only because you're a good friend of mine and fellow Italian wine ambassador, but also because you're based in Astana. All of our previous interviews were with people who were based in Almaty. So it would be good to get some insights from a person who is based in the capital city. It's a very important city in the country for the development in general. So we are very, very happy to get some insights about Astana. But before we do that, can you please briefly walk us through how your journey in the wine industry began and what attracted you to Italian wine specifically, because you're more focused on Italian wines than any other?
Sure. So I started to work as a bartender 8 or 9 years ago, and I really successfully worked with cocktails in bars. But one day I started to work in a really nice restaurant, and there were good wine lists and absolutely like no cocktails. So I started to study all these things about wine, and I was really excited about this. And I think from that moment I fell in love with wine, with this culture, because it's really, really wide, really interesting, and you have a lot of different fields for learning. You have to know history, geography, like geology, etc., etc. So it's really a lot of information you have to know. And about Italian wines, I think that Italian wines is unique because you can find absolutely everything you want, every style you want in Italy. And for me, it's really cool. And for example, you can find Chardonnay in every country, in every region, and a lot of nice wines from Chardonnay. But if you want to taste, to drink some, I don't know, Verdicchio, you have to go to Italy. You have to find it in Italy and only there. So for me, it's the best thing about Italian wines, that it's really, really unique.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. And also Italian culture.
Yes, of course, it's cuisine, culture, people.
It's cool to experience Italian culture, and every time when you go to some wine fairs or to some wine regions to visit the producers, you always encounter this hospitality, this colorful culture.
Yeah, agree, definitely. And after all of this, you couldn't fall in love with them.
Yeah, yeah, you couldn't not
Yeah,
fall
couldn't
in love
not.
with them.
Yes.
Okay, now let's move on to our today's key learning objectives, which are understand how wine culture is evolving in Astana and how consumers differ from other cities in Kazakhstan, and especially Almaty, which we talk about a bit more. Number two, gain insights into AlmaWine's portfolio strategy, marketing positioning, and collaboration with Italian producers. And third, we're going to explore the trends, price segments, and opportunities for Italian wines in Kazakhstan market in general. So, I'd love to ask you to give us an overview of Astana. How would you describe the current wine culture in the capital city of Kazakhstan today?
I think that now we are on something like a plateau. For example, like 10 years ago, we didn't drink a lot of wines. We didn't know a lot of brands, grape varieties, etc., etc. But for the last years, wine culture developed and developed very good. But now I think maybe we not stop, but begin a little bit slowly in this development because people found their favorite grape varieties, their favorite brands, and now we have to make some efforts and to have time to move the culture forward. We need more people who could promote wine culture, but it's quite good. It's much better than 5 years ago.
Well, yeah, I think it's definitely better than it was before. And also, you are, as the representative of the Kazakhstan Sommelier Association in Astana, you're doing a lot of work. Kudos to you here, because you're doing quite a lot of work to develop this culture and also to educate new wine professionals in the city.
Yep, absolutely. We work a lot with. I couldn't tell that it's like young generation, but with new wine specialists, we taste a lot together. We study a lot together. We take part in competition. That's a really, really important part of our community life. And I think that's they are the main force who could promote wine culture. And I think that our young generation sommelier, they are more motivated. For them, it's quite like a challenge to sell something new, to find something interesting to add to their wine list, to have something like I have in my restaurant this one, and you don't have it in your restaurants, and like small competition between each other. It's really, really interesting. And I think they are more motivated in this case, not only to earn a lot of money, but also to make their customers happier, give them something more interesting, and etc. etc.
Got it. And what about the customers? So, do consumers in Astana approach wine differently compared to Almaty? How do you think?
Oh, absolutely. We joking all the time that people in Astana they work hard, and people in Almaty they just sit on the summer terraces and drinking prosecco or aperol and enjoy their life. And I think it's quite fair because like a vibe in two cities really really different. In Almaty, you have a good weather, a lot of restaurants, a lot of bars, nice nature. Many people come there to have weekends. Again, more wine specialists who could sell something interesting. And people in Almaty like have not better choice, but they choose more interesting wines than something really really popular that's everywhere. In Astana, it's quite different. Again, because we don't have a lot of places for rest. I'm not talking about bars or restaurants, just in general. The city is more for hard work and we don't have a lot of wine specialists and the restaurants with the sommeliers, and it's quite challenging to sell something interesting, something new, or some small wine region or unknown grape variety in the restaurant without sommelier, because people will buy something they know. That's why, for example, New Zealand Sauvignon Blanc is one of the most popular, I think, wine in Astana, because everyone know it. So in this case, yeah, it's quite different between Almaty and Astana. But again, our people, I think they're open to something new, and we just need maybe more time and more wine specialists who could let their customers to there's something new and interesting.
Oh, yes. Astana and Almaty, they differ so much. Again, you mentioned the weather and also the city outline in general. For example, Astana, for the people who doesn't know anything about Astana, it's a new city and it's not quite walkable even. Almaty is very walkable, and along the way you can pass many terraces of the restaurants and cafes. Like, even just walking in the city, you can easily find a
Yeah, yeah,
cafe or a nice
exactly.
restaurant. In Astana, you need to
Yeah.
walk quite a lot to get to the
Yes,
place.
yes, exactly. Because, for example, we have several spots, for example, in the city where you could find several restaurants like nearby. But
Hmm.
I know that in Almaty, you can walk through the streets and there will be a lot of terraces, and you can
Hmm.
walk, have a glass in one, and then have a glass in the other, and like all night. In Astana, no, no, we have really, really long streets, really wide streets, big houses, big buildings, and sometimes you have to walk like 15 minutes from one place to other place, and even more. Yeah,
Hmm.
it's also the
Yeah.
point.
Yeah. And also it's colder. So when you have to walk for 15 minutes, like after getting one glass of wine or two in one place, then you walk to another. It's colder, it's longer distance. You already get sober. And then you think, do I even need to drink one more glass?
Yeah, or even I need to sit at home and that's all,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
drink
yeah,
wine at home or beer.
yeah. Exactly. Okay, now let's move to AlmaWine. You are representative of AlmaWine in Astana. Could you give us an overview of the company's philosophy and your role within the portfolio? And again, when building the portfolio, what criteria do you usually look for when selecting new producers and wineries to work with?
So AlmaWine is a really huge company, and we work not only with restaurants or specialized wine stores. We work also with shops, like shops near the home or supermarkets. That's why we have to have a wide range of wines. We have to have something interesting, something unique to suggest it to wine restaurants, and also we have to have a good value for money for the small shops. That's why we built our portfolio for every channel of sales. For the restaurant, something interesting, something unique. For the shop, something good for the good price. It's a main point of our portfolio. As for me, I am a wine development manager in Astana, and also I work with the Italian part of our portfolio. I try to promote Italian wine, Italian brands. And what about criteria? For example, we visited Vinitaly with our import manager, and we had a main task. We had not a lot of producers from Tuscany, but it's one of the most important, most famous Italian region due to wines. And we had to find new producers from Tuscany. Again, we had to find someone who will be really, really interesting, unique, small quantity of wine to suggest it to good restaurants, wine restaurants. And also, we had to find someone with a good quantity and a good quality and a good price to suggest it again to every channels. And for us, also really important the support from the producers and like their desire to promote their brands on our market, because I think we have a lot of producers who are really like we're really famous, and we don't want to do like anything to promote to support you. Just buy and sell as you can. So we try to make a good relationship for the both sides.
You just mentioned the support. So, what kind of support exactly would you like to receive from producers? Or can you give us some examples of the support the producers might give to the wine importers?
Uh, yeah, of course, we have a really nice case. It's a different motivation program. So, what do we ask for? We ask our producers for support. Like, we make a group of sommelier or group of really cool customers or group of bloggers, and we want to make for them wine tour, and we ask our producers for accommodation and for some activities like visiting winery, some tours to the vineyards, some dinner. For example, last year we visited Puglia, Sicily, and Sardinia. It was really wonderful trip, and our sommelier from the restaurants, they were so excited because we visited different culture places. We visited winery. We tasted a lot of nice wines, and after such activity, the sales rised up because it's like you are excited about wines, about winery, and you come back and you just please drink all the people. You have to drink these wines. Come on, and it's a really really good case for us, and it's one of the points we ask for producers when we started to work with them. And for example, now we have producers who are really glad to invite us to again to Tuscany, for example, and I think we will do it next year. And also visits when producers come here, come to Kazakhstan, it's also very helpful. Like, I think this too is the main support. And also, some producers support us with different events, with the tasting, like different dinners, etc., etc.
Okay, and so you mentioned the accommodation. What about the flight tickets, for example? Do you provide the flight tickets for your customers or?
For example, we when we did our motivation program, we had two winners, two people who sold the most quantity, and we bought the tickets for them. And the other member of our group, they also did the all minimum conditions for the motivation program, and they bought the tickets for themselves. But all the program inside, all the program in the Italy, it was just on producers. That's why again everyone was really really happy, really excited, and it was really cool journey.
Hmm. And yeah, again, I think that's probably what works the best, actually bringing people there,
Yeah.
let them see the hospitality, then they come back home with this sense of excitement and also gratitude towards the producers, towards the regions, and then they're even more motivated to sell more.
Yes, and they share all these feelings, all this emotion with their guests, with their customers, and again, the sales and then knowledge about these wines are get better.
Yeah, that's true. What is the percentage of your portfolio is currently focused on Italian wines specifically? And which categories or regions perform especially well?
So, according to percentage, I think it's about 25 30%. We have a lot of regions, of course, all the most popular regions, and the best performed, I think, Veneto with wines from Valpolicella, from producers Bertani and Massi, for example. Also, we will have a really cool representative of Tuscany. Now we have four producers from Tuscany, and it will be more. Also, we have nice producers from Puglia, from Sicily. So we have almost all the main wine region in our portfolio.
Okay, got it. And in the future, what wine regions would you like to add? Or which wine regions you are more interested in to discover?
if we talk about like me personally, there are a lot of interest and of course a lot of interest in wine and regions. I really love Etna, and I hope that we will have more producers from Etna. And also, I think that we need more producers from Piedmont because it's a really important wine region, and we need more range of producers and wines from this region. And also, it's really interesting to discover regions like Friuli, like Marche, because also there are a lot of nice wines. But again, it's a really hard work because it's quite a known region in Kazakhstan, and you have to make a really great job to promote them and to get know your customers with the wines from these regions.
Oh yeah, that's true too. And now moving on to some of the opportunities. So you provide the wine tastings for the professionals, wine professionals, people who are your clients, for example, like distributors or restaurants or the shops, but also you provide some wine tastings to the final consumers as well. So how do you think when consumers choose Italian wine, what factors tend to influence their purchasing decisions most? Is it a grape variety? Is it a region? Or maybe producer's name, the brand name, or maybe the price, or anything? Or everything combined, but which one is more influencing?
Anyway, I think it's a price. For example, when you want to choose something new, like you don't know nothing about grape variety or region or producers, you're a little bit afraid to buy quite expensive wine. That's why I think that's again for us, for example, one of the main point is to find the good producers with a good quality for the good money. And I think from these producers, we could teach people and show them something new and something interesting, like new grape varieties. And then later, they could, for example, find for them something more expensive, something more interesting. For example, the same grape variety, but they could be known with it. And they won't be like afraid to taste it. So again, I think that the most point is the good price for good quality. Then of course, I think it's a region. For example, to sell wines from Tuscany quite easier than to sell wines from like Basilicata. Everyone know about Tuscany, but really few amount of people know about Basilicata. And of course, grape varieties. As we know, in Italy, enormous numbers of grape varieties, and you can try it. I think all your life. Many of these grapes are like just in Italy, and we don't have it on our market, and it will be really really challengeable if you will bring something really unique and small to Kazakhstan and will try to sell it because no one know about it. So I think these factors, so like price, region, and grape, on the first top three.
Hmm. Again, you mentioned the price is one of the most important. It's the true story everywhere. And I think Artyom was giving a speech during Vinitaly. I'm not sure, was it like 3 years ago or something? And there was also an article about that, that in Kazakhstan, the entry level wines with lower price and also like super expensive wines like Super Tuscans, for example, they sell well. But this mid-range wines with really good prices. The price is still, it's not cheap, but it's a good price, but also the quality is quite good. So those kind of wines are harder to sell. So did the situation change now? So what price points are currently performing best, both in restaurants and also in wine shops?
I think that this situation is still true. And if we will talk about the restaurants in euros, it will be like from 20 to 50 euros. It's like mid range prices for the wines in the restaurants. But you know, in different restaurants, different prices, different range of prices for the same wines, and sometimes it's quite confused because you can find wines in one restaurant for like 15 euros, and the same wine in another restaurant will cost, for example, about 25, 30 euros. That's why all the time we talk about education. And also, as we mentioned, I teach in iWine in Astana, and we are really happy to have wine lovers on our courses too. And we try to explain them to choose wine according the region, grape variety, or producer, not only because the prices, but average price is 20, 50 euros per bottle. For me, for example, it's a big challenge to drink wine somewhere because, again, I know prices and I can't drink wine in a restaurant. I better will drink beer. But please
Well,
don't
yeah.
drink beer in a restaurant, drink wine.
It's like the professional deformation. You kind of know the prices. It's hard to give the same amount of money for the product that you know that costs less, or you can get it for less money, for example. Okay, and it's almost time for us to wrap it up. But before doing so, how do you think what opportunities are still there for Italian producers in our market? Again, you talked about the categories that you'd like to see in the market. How do you think, are there any Italian wine categories or regions you believe could have greater potential? Maybe they're not your favorites, but you believe they have a greater potential here.
Oh, again, as I said, Italy is really wide in range of styles, and I think there are a lot of opportunities for a lot of regions and grape varieties. Again, for example, for me personally, I think Italian bubbles could be quite successful because now we know a lot about Prosecco and we sell a lot of Prosecco. And when we talked about Italian sparkling, everyone know and talk about Prosecco. But as we know in Italy, a lot of really cool sparkling wines. And I think in this case, we could develop very, very well, provide more to the markets, promote more to the market. It could be quite successful. Also, for example, last year, the opening of the last year for me was old wines from Verdicchio, from like Fiano, really concentrated wine, really complex. And as we know, almost for everyone, Italy is a red wine country, and we know that in Italy a lot of great reds. But this wine could show white sides of Italy, and I think can compete with the wines, for example, from great white regions like from France or from other countries. And this category also could be really, really successful, I think. And of course, again, Etna wines is a trend in all the world. And I think that in Kazakhstan, we also need a little bit more time, and it also will be very popular in our country. It's a really nice trend.
Yeah, that's true. You're not the first person mentioning Etna, and I think you're not going to be the last person mentioning Etna. So it's a big shout out to Etna producers to discover Central Asia, like to put Central Asia on their potential export map. So thank you so much for all the insights. So before we wrap up the episode, I'd love to ask you three rapid questions. So if you can give us very short and concise answer to them. So if you could introduce one new wine trend or grape variety to Kazakhstan, what would it be?
Verdicchio, yep. I fell in love with Verdicchio, so Verdicchio.
Again, for its age worthiness.
Yes, for aging, for like complex, for everything, it's really cool variant. I think really nice trend.
Hmm. And it's the end of May. The summer is coming. What would be your favorite summer wine?
Okay, I think Bardolino for me is one of the best summer wine. Very easy with good acidity. You can chill it a little. So for the summer, it will be perfect. If you want something more complex, again, I think Etna. Etna will be also really good variant. Etna Rosso, yeah.
Hmm. Yeah, that's great. And also, not many people talk about Bardolino, but it's also the wine that you can drink a lot and you're not going to
Yeah,
break your piggy bank.
Yeah, and you just can drink it from the morning till the evening all day. Yeah, and not get tired with it.
Hmm. Okay, and now it's time to ask about your favorite wine spot in Astana.
Of course, first of it, it's our restaurant, Wine Street. It's a restaurant of AlmaWine Group, and we provide there a lot of wine degustation. And I also spend a lot of time there. And in this restaurant, we have like all our portfolio, and you can taste it there. The second one, I think it's Monte Bianco wine store and restaurants. Again, really nice wine selection, really nice small place, small restaurants with a good cuisine. And one more is Yellow Bottle. It's also small wine store with a few tables, but with also very good wine selection. All these places is the places to drink wine. We have a lot of wine restaurants in Astana, of course, but this place, if you want just to drink wine, maybe have some snacks, the good prices, a lot of wines, good choice.
Hmm. Okay, thank you so much. We are going to put all the restaurant names that you mentioned in the show notes. So for anyone interested, please check the show notes to this episode. Okay, it's time for us to wrap it up. So thank you so much, Daria, for beautiful insights. I think our listeners will find this interview very practical and they will make some notes from everything you said.
Thank you very much too. Welcome to Astana. Ciao.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Astana is the city to visit, both in summer and in winter. In winter, it's challenging, but winter has its beauty in Astana. Like minus 30, minus 35. Beautiful. Okay, thank you so much again.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us on Asia Wine Market. Don't forget to subscribe, leave a comment, and share this episode with your fellow wine professionals wherever you get your pods. To stay updated on upcoming wine events, market insights, visit ItalianWinePodcast.com. Catch you in the next episode. And until then, cheers from Asia.